What's happening? DC Reacts. YouTube, be cool. Don't take this down. It's just an opinion. It's just an opinion. So, I've actually watched the full thing. We're just going to do the snippet, the preview, basically, as I say. It's the Piers Morgan and Andrew Tate TOPG thing. Conversation, let's put it that way. Right, I'll give my thoughts as they're talking and what I think. So, I do follow him on Rumble though. If that gives you any clues to who I supported this. Big fan of his brother actually, Tristan. Big fan of his brother. And what happened to Sneeko? It's totally wrong. Totally wrong, and that's why I've got a Rumble account now too. It'll be in the description. You can go follow me if you want. Right, let's go.
Andrew Tate's the most famous man you've probably never heard of, but the chances are your children will have. Videos of Tate have been viewed billions of times online. He's built an enormous following of mostly young men, and his often scandalous views about women that have made him notorious across the world. Views like this.
So I think my sister is her husband's property, yes. When a bride is walking down the aisle to marry the groom, the father walks next to her and gives her away. True or false?
Tate's opinions on mental illness are equally controversial.
I don't believe in depression. Don't message me about depression because I don't believe in it. If you're asleep in your bed in the middle of the night and you hear a noise and you believe in ghosts, now you're afraid. But if you don't believe in ghosts, it's the wind and you go back to sleep. You give the ghosts power by believing in them.
Well, there's some every major social media platform.
See, what's wrong with that? We are struggling with, there is a lot of men struggling with depression because of this hardcore feminist movement towards all men are bad. So either my missus, my girl, my wife, either she listens to some of the stuff and goes, what the are they talking about? Are they mad? And that's about the other woman. She's like, what the do they want a hard life or what? It's just, yeah. Okay.
Banned Tate amid a global backlash and concerns about his influence on the young people who watch him. But copies of his videos are still shared millions of times every day. This show is called Uncensored. One of the challenges views directly, so he flew from Romania to sit here in this studio, and the full explosive interview airs later this week. Here's a bit of what's to come.
Little side note, my wife's actually is Romanian.
Do you respect women?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Do you think that 18, 19-year-old women are more attractive than 25-year-old women?
I think there's attractive people. That's a loaded question. I don't know.
Well, it's not really, is it?
I can't.
You know why I'm asking you?
Of course I do, but I can't sit here and
for
say.
the benefit of viewers who don't know why I'm asking, you said this. In general, this is also one of the reasons men find youth attractive. You want to blow up the internet? I'll blow up the internet right effing now. The reason 18 and 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25-year-olds is because they've been through less dick. People say, oh, you can't say that, but yes, I can. A 19-year-old is more attractive than a 26-year-old woman, and I'll tell you why. Because that 26-year-old has talked to more guys, been to the club more times, been effed and dumped more times, more arguments, more mess, more for me to clean up. That is misogyny.
Why?
Because you are encouraging a mindset about 25-year-old women that makes them sound out to be infinitely less desirable than 18, 19-year-olds, and having effectively been having too much sex to be taken in a more respectful way.
Well, firstly, even if that was the case, that wouldn't be misogyny.
But what did you mean by what you said?
That's not misogyny because it's not anti-women. I'm saying that an 18 or a 19-year-old woman would be more desirable.
Pretty anti-25-year-old woman.
Anti-25-year-old women we can argue, but not misogyny.
Well, that's misogyny then, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, being anti any woman at all is misogyny.
Not when I'm saying that women are beautiful and attractive at a certain age and saying the age.
You're saying 18, 19-year-olds are more attractive than 25.
Well, than ageist perhaps, but misogynistic absolutely
Is that
not.
But you just accepted it was misogyny.
No, I didn't. You said it was misogyny. I'm telling you, no, it's not.
If a 26-year-old woman is watching this and has heard those comments,
yeah.
Would you just say to her, look, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that?
Look, I am a fan of Piers Morgan. Because on tough subjects, he does talk the talk and stand his ground. Fair on that. Same as Andrew Tate. he can take a lesson or two from Joe Rogan. He needs to just the interrupting is just you've asked him a question, let him answer it. Let him just finish the answer. Then come in with your slappers. That's fine. But you keep on cutting him like, I don't know why I'm doing this, being an idiot. But I'm trying to talk with my hands. You know what I mean? He's not giving him a chance to talk. Also, the problem I think with the thing there is he is older. Piers Morgan is a lot older. And I don't know when's the last time he was in a dating pool or dating circle, or in the things have changed a lot from when he was dating to how it is now. It's two different worlds, I would say, completely. So I get what Andrew Tate's saying. It makes sense. I mean, I've been with a girl that dated a guy for 10 years. That's a long time. But, you know, that comes with its issues. Because he wasn't a good guy. He used to degrade her and all that stuff. So, you know, by the time me and her got together, very defensive. It's very like, ah. It's like, whoa, I'm not. What's happening now? And before I can, you know what I mean? So we've had to learn to get through that and past that, because in her head she was like, I'm not doing that again. So anything I say is immediately, and she's on the defense. It's like, whoa, I'm not attacking you. I'm not. And it takes us longer to talk it through and all that and explain this stuff, because we have to, because of what he done. So I get what Andrew's saying, and I also get what Piers is saying, but the age is going against him. I think he doesn't realize what it's like. Ideally, he wants to sit down with his son and have a talk and find out what it's like, you know, openly, properly. And that might give him a better idea of where Andrew Tate's coming from.
No, I won't. I will say that I am sorry that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world.
That doesn't mean you're sorry.
No, I'm not sorry. That's the point I'm making. I'm sorry if that offends you. However, there's a large contingent of the world that believe that, and I was mediating for a conversation.
Parts of the world that believe that about 26-year-old women are parts of the world where women are not allowed out on their own.
That's a conversation.
They have to wear full burqas.
Well, that's a conversation.
They're not allowed to drive cars.
That's nothing to do with me.
But is that the kind of world for a woman that you?
I was mediating a conversation.
No, I'm asking you what you think.
I don't live in a country where that happens.
So
You won't even give him a chance to explain his answer, which is unfair. Give him the chance to explain his answer. Then try and point out any flaws in it. But at least give him the chance to answer. Explain his answer or answer it properly.
Using that as the excuse for why you're not sorry for saying it.
It's not an excuse.
Is that there are parts of the world where this is fine.
My friend.
So my question to you is, well, do you think it's fine?
I don't think it's fine. I live in a world where...
You don't think it's fine?
The reason
This isn't that hard, Andrew. You can simply say, Piers, you know what? With the benefit of hindsight, I wish I hadn't said it like that. And if a 26-year-old woman's watching, I'm sorry I said that, because that actually is blatantly misogynist. And even though that's a view held by other parts of the world, it's not a view I share. Now, I would respect you more if you said that than if you try and say, well, it's said in other parts of the world, so I'm not sorry.
I think
that doesn't tell me what you think.
Then you need to understand why my content existed in the first place. My content existed because I tried my very hardest to be an absolute and utter realist, especially with uncomfortable truths. I was pointing out that very uncomfortable...
Is that a truth? Then?
It's an uncomfortable truth in many parts of the world. It's not a truth that I'm happy about.
An inquest this week found that a 14-year-old girl, Molly Russell, died from an act of self-harm while suffering from depression and the negative effects of online content. The coroner said she was exposed to material that may have influenced her in a negative way, and in addition, what started as depression and become a much more serious depressive illness, and she's very sadly took her life.
Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with him. He's talking to young men that are going through this. That's why he's so big, because he purposely aimed his stuff towards young, growing up boys trying to learn how to be a man, because it's so difficult in today's day and age to get inspiration to how to be a man, because men are toxic. Everything about a man is toxic, and it's just, which is all bullshit. But you know, sorry for that young girl, but I don't think it was his content. Have you seen what? And I'm not, but have you seen what some girls post? Some of you can be evil, man, evil towards other girls. Like, use the whole nother level to how we do it.
For life.
That's absolutely disgusting.
Right. Her father.
It's terrible.
Her father's campaign for better protections against potentially dangerous social media algorithms, right? It says that the particularly graphic content she saw romanticized acts of self-harm, normalized her condition, and focused on a limited and irrational view without any counterbalance of normality. First of all, what is your response to that? Nothing to do with you. That's
the first thing. Yeah, it is nothing to do with me. The fact that a 14-year-old girl took her life is truly sad. The world we live in today is... The fact that something like that happened is almost mind-blowing to me. That's truly sad. I actually feel sad inside to see something like that.
What has come clear to me in the interview
TOPG
is that a lot of things you say you wouldn't say now that you've said before.
I'd say them differently, perhaps.
Yeah, right. So to me, that's an acceptance, not just that you want to get back on platforms, because maybe that was one of the reasons you were no platform, but
he ain't bothered about getting on the platforms because he's already made his move. Did any of you watch the 5-hour podcast with him on is it OPB? I did. The whole 5 hours. I watched it live at work because I work nights. I watched that whole 5 hours, and that was an interview. He let him explain everything. He asked a question, he sat back, he let him talk. No matter how long the answer was, sometimes it can't just be a simple yes or no. If you actually Joe Rogan says it all the time. Don't jump on the clips. Look at the clip, feel what you need to feel, but then go look for the full context of it. Go look for the full clip. And then make your choice. Joe Rogan, the top G. He is the toppest of the top G. I think a lot of yous agree.
you've recognized and understood the potential harm to the wrong kind of impressionable mind by some of the things you've said. Would that be fair?
I think that's 80% fair. I recognize and understand that with massive fame, you have to be more careful about being misconstrued. Like I said earlier, 1% of people misunderstanding you doesn't matter with a small audience. It matters with a very large audience. With power comes responsibility. I still believe the things I say. I do not want to be a negative force for the world. I also understand that I am a man who's lived a very difficult, nuanced life, and I am capable of making nuanced points that may be misunderstood by teenagers. However, that can be said about anybody and everything. Every opinion online can be misunderstood by children. Trying to protect children from the internet is a very interesting subject in and of itself, because I would argue that 80% of the content on the internet can be negative or detrimental to a young mind that doesn't understand the world.
You know, do you know what I've taken from Andrew Tate's conversations? It's like, let me just take this off. So I'm 38. I'm 6'5". I'm not built, I'm not fit, I'm not gymming, I'm not anything. But I've started. I started because it started helping me. Working out, being fit for my daughter. So I've got the energy to play with her. She's 3. So anybody that's out there with a 3-year-old kid, you know, they are busy. All the time. Every day. I work 12-hour nights. So I work a normal regular job. I do 12-hour night shifts every night. Then I come home. I spend time. When I wake up, I spend 2-3 hours. So I gym. I do YouTube. And I spend time with the family before I go to work every night. And then on the weekends, luckily I don't work Saturdays and Sundays. Then I spend all the time. Like yesterday, we took her out to soft play and all that stuff. And it is a balancing act. But I'm also trying to improve my life and our life. More her life. Because I don't want her to struggle. Like I came from situations where I was getting food from school because we had no money to buy food. So, you know, where your supper for the night would be a slice of bread with 2 eggs. That's it. And I would eat and my mother wouldn't eat. So I get both of them. I do. I understand, but I don't think he should have been banned off everything. I think there's, and I don't think that's because of his content. I think that's because of something else. I think that's totally about something else. So this is my hopeless, useless opinion. Let me know in the comments what you think. I'm interested to read. I will do a video on that, on what you put in the comments and read it out and give my thoughts and stuff like that if you want. And yeah, I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you actually do research into what you are looking at. That's probably the biggest thing. If you see a clip and it pisses you off, count to 10, take a deep breath, count to 10, type in that and see what the whole context was. And you might change your own mind. Nobody will change it for you, but you might change your own mind and go, oh, now it makes all the fucking sense in the world. So, yeah, I appreciate you watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments. I am very curious to know if you agree or disagree. I don't mind if you disagree. You can rip me in the comments. I do not. It's your choice. I'm not going to hold it against you. But that's what it's all about. So we can have that conversation. If you would talk about it, then we talk about it. You know, if you don't like what I say or what I agree with, then that's cool. I've got no problems with that because that's how you are and that's how I am. And it don't mean we still can't stand at the bar and have a beer together. I don't drink, but yeah. And I know Andrew Tate's going to love us vaping. I don't vape. I've just stopped smoking so to get on the healthier. So yeah. Don't rip me on your Rambo channel about that. Appreciate you guys watching. Peace.